Okay, so I think we can start. Hello, everybody. My name is Grzegorz Pietrzak. I'm a tech lead of Droopler Distribution. And today I'm going to tell you about the evolution of Droopler, how it all began, what was our idea to build a distribution, and what were the challenges that we faced so far with Droopler. So for those ones who didn't attend to the first session by Maciej, I'll tell something about Droopler. Droopler is a distribution built by DropTK, and its main goal is to make building landing pages easier. So we would like to build a corporate website with ease. We would like to help companies build their pages in much easier and much friendlier way than before, and we think that with Droopler we found a way to actually do it. So how did it all begin? Why did we create Droopler at all? So we all know that starting new project is very time consuming. And also, we all know that our customers pay attention to visual stuff. So, for example, if we show them Bartik, they won't be happy. But if we show them something that works, that looks pretty from the beginning, they look at our project in a completely different way. So, at some point, we noticed that every project starts with the same set of steps. So we set up a profile, we install Bootstrap Dim, we enable a CSS, we create some content types, and up to some point, all company pages are very similar. So what we wanted to do is reuse the code, reuse our ideas, save our time, and we needed some out-of-the-box experience. So we needed websites that look good and work just after the installation. So we decided to create a Drupal distribution. We had some main goals that we wanted to achieve. As I said previously, we wanted it to be out of the box. So we wanted it to work after installation and to be further customizable, but it was very important for us to have something ready from the moment of install. So that's the first goal. Second goal, we wanted to go fully open source because we wanted to support the community, which gave us very much, and we wanted to contribute. And it was a really great decision for us because we already got a lot of feedback, and the community is bringing much more value than some, I don't know, closed solution that would be done only for us. So being open source is a really great thing for us, and I will talk about it also later. Third thing, we wanted to be modern. So it sounds pretty trivial, but because every page should be modern, but we wanted no Drupal bargain, no compromises. We didn't want to be hostages of old technologies. And we know that people like new things. They don't want to have website based on some technology from that has some years. We want to provide sites that are brand new. And the fourth of our goals, we wanted the websites to be alterable. So out of the box, but also alterable. This way we install site, have some out-of-the-box solution, but we can alter it and personalize in any way we want. So, and we put a lot of effort to make maintaining of such sites easier. So we noticed that the problem of most distribution is the fact that it's hard to update them later. It's hard to personalize them and maintain the code to be updated. So we tried hard to be alterable, but also be updatable. And during our Droopler development, we faced many challenges. Some of them were very obvious. Some of them were quite unexpected, and I want to show you what bothers us the most. So the first thing about building the first version of Droopler was building a team. As you can see on the presentation, GitHub reports that we have 35 people working on Droopler, mostly from Droptica. We have over 2,000 commits to current stable version. And open source teams tend to be very distributed. And even though Droopler is developed mainly by Droptica, there are a lot of people that contribute. And we have also some external contributors. And we noticed very fast that we need to minimize onboarding of new developers. So, so if somebody wants to spend some time on Droopler, we have to make it easy. We have to minimize the time that the person needs to spend on learning it. So we spent a lot of time on optimizing this workflow. And we try to develop code that meets all standards. We avoid overcomplicated solutions. Even if they are proper, sometimes we just do things that are easier for people to understand and easier to maintain. And also, internally in Droptica, we use technologies based on Ansible to set up sites faster. So if somebody wants to do something with Droopler to develop it, they can set up a site in less than 15 minutes, even if they didn't touch it before. So this is a great value for us. And another thing about open source project, we had to stop thinking only about ourselves. So we learn how hard it is to satisfy all users of open source project. And we learned that all projects are evolving, but we cannot leave the users behind. So we have to care about users. We have to make them happy, and we cannot lead to the situation when they are abandoned. So from the first version, we provide update paths, even if they are hard to do. So far, we had some really tough cases like migration image fields to media. It was really complicated, but we achieved it. And right now, everything on Droopler runs on media, all backgrounds, all icons, everything. So this was one thing. We have some other. We have our configuration update methods that I will show you later. And very similar thing, we have to avoid breaking sites. So as you can see on the chart, our project usage is rising, and we have to think about all those sites, if we want to break them, if they will still work, if they have a stable upgrade path. So in short, we want people to use Droopler and not be afraid of updates or what will be later. And while creating the distribution, while planning it, we talked a lot how to actually approach it. And our first principle was to do evolution and avoid revolution. So there's a very good illustration from Henrik Nyberg, an illustration of skateboard approach. And many projects fail because they do this big bang delivery. So until the final project is done, it's not usable. So this user from the picture doesn't want a wheel. They want something to write, actually. So we made use of MVP. We made use of incremental development. And it brought us a great value because we can all the time react to what people like. We can change our plans accordingly. A great example of that was commerce module that was introduced in June during this beginning of epidemic, when we reacted to people who wanted to have Drupal commerce out of the box, so without configuring, dimming, some solution that just works. We prepared such module for Droopler, and it's already in stable version. Okay. we mentioned that we wanted to be a part of open source community, but we also noticed that the distribution is actually something that glues contrib code together. It shouldn't bring new functionalities itself. It should glue different parts of code from different vendors in a good way. And because of that, from the beginning, we had a lot of problems with making our project compatible with Drupal.org. As you all know, so far Drupal.org supported only this packaging script for distributions, so drush make. Also some library whitelist, some old solutions that were meant for Drupal 7, not for Drupal 8. So from the start, we decided to use Composer, to use NPM no matter what. As I said before, we wanted to be modern. We wanted to use this approach known from Composer, from Node.js, to use a reliable method to update our libraries and modules. Also, we used asset packages for managing some front-end dependencies, and it turned out to be a pretty good approach. We also, what is maybe controversial, avoid patches at all costs. So right now we have only one patch in Droopler that is applied only to Drupal.org version, because there is some small problem with lazy module. And apart of that, we don't use patches. We prefer to contribute to community instead. And so far we were contacting TVI maintainers, Gazy maintainers, and we try to solve things by talking to people, not to patching our distribution. So the huge challenge is actually how to be modern, because we want Droopler to be modern and practical, and we don't want any compromises here. From the start, we were using Bootstrap 4, which in 2017 was in alpha phase. From start, we were using SCSS, Gulp, also paragraphs, as we considered it modern and something new in Drupal world. So we are still chasing those news in Drupal and web world. And actually, since we started, a lot of things changed. We had layout builder in Drupal. We had this new Composer template. We had media support, which I mentioned. We have Drupal 9. About the layout builder, Droopler works without issues with layout builder, but in the next versions we'll have some dedicated layouts that will help you to use Bootstrap grid instead of some flex layouts. So it will be a small but very nice change to support layout builder. The new Composer template is already in Droopler since version 2.0, so we make use of it. Media, as I mentioned, we fully support media, and all our images and movies are uploaded by it. And Drupal 9, our 2.2 version will be compatible with Drupal 9 fully. And the next version will be released in this new version flow on Drupal.org, not 8.x 2.3, but 3.0.0. So it will be also compatible both with Drupal 8 and 9. And we know that there are a lot of challenges ahead. For example, Bootstrap 5 is slowly approaching us. And we already know that it will be pretty similar to Bootstrap 4. It's also a kind of evolution, not revolution. So we'll be looking forward to also incorporate it into Droopler. Okay, and next challenge that we faced, and it's very important, maybe the most, is how to be changeable. This problem exists in many places in Droopler. The most visible one is styling. When we started to develop Droopler, we noticed that Bootstrap 4 has a really cool way of manipulating variables. So there are multiple levels of variables. We have some primary variables like color Agamemnon. Why it's named like this? I'm sending you to README of Droopler on GitHub. It's explained there. We have this primary color. We have secondary colors like variable 1 to 3. And we have properties that depends on those colors from second level. And if we change color at some level, it also affects colors beneath it. So it's like a butterfly effect. If you touch one thing, more things are actually changed. So if you change this color Agamemnon, which is the primary color of the entire website, your entire website theme will be also changed. So this is one of the most cool features of Droopler, because obviously people don't want to their websites to be identical to other ones. So we understand that Droopler has one theme, and that those Droopler sites are kind of pretty similar, but also they are changeable. You can change layouts completely. Just look at our droptica.com page, which is also built on Droopler. It's not similar to the original Droopler, but it's still built on it, and it works and it looks differently. So this is this butterfly effect. If you change one thing, you change a lot of them. I will give you one example. This is the standard Droopler layout, standard colors. It looks like this after installation. I just added 2 paragraphs here. One with site image, one with counters. So if you run this site, these counters start counting until they reach their final numbers. So it only takes 3 lines of SCSS to change everything here. So I found some sample palette online, random one, change actually 3 colors here, like color Agamemnon, color Nestor, color Cassandra, and got pretty different website. Maybe it's not visible here well, because like there are some pink color and beige, but it's completely different. The many items here are in different colors, and you can change even more. And only the colors. Droopler operates mainly on images, on colors. So if you change those things, your site starts to be completely different. You can style it further. It's no problem. It will be compatible with next Droopler versions. About changing things, this is the feature of Droopler 2.0, which will be enhanced in Droopler 2.2. These are paragraph settings. This is a feature from kind of different category, because so far we put all configuration for paragraphs into new fields. So we had separate fields for layout, for paragraph layout, for paragraph column count, for paragraph classes, for settings like this. And we came to the conclusion that this is the total overkill, because for all settings we have separate database tables, and it's not related to content, so it makes no sense to make a separate field for each setting. So in 2.0 we created something like paragraph settings field. And this is a custom field that holds its contents in a simple JSON. This JSON is operated by widgets that you see on this slide. In 2.0 version, it's a very simple implementation that mainly includes paragraph classes. You can add additional classes if you want to style some paragraphs in the way you want. But in version 2.2, it will be a much cooler feature, because you'll be able to choose from paragraph setting the column count, the paragraph theme. So we have a new set of themes like primary, gray, secondary, and few others for different kinds of paragraphs. You'll be able to manipulate margins, like choose default, small, medium, big, or none, paddings, and many more settings. We are migrating all the fields that we had into these paragraph settings, so Droopler will become much lighter. And what's more important, you'll be able to alter all of these settings, all the defaults, all the selects, everything, and introduce your own settings or change the existing ones. So you can tailor a website exactly to your client's needs. You can, for example, create new themes, you can create new margin settings. So the final product will be well tailored, and on the other hand, it will be still updatable and compatible with Droopler. So that's all about changing things. There are many more ideas here, but these two are pretty important to us. And another challenge from Droopler is how to be modular. I suppose this is a problem of most distributions, whether to be like a monolith that contains everything, or to be modular and add functionalities in the way that people like. So not everybody needs blog, not everybody needs commerce, and so on. So we also started to wonder, does everybody needs everything? We had a lot of discussions, we have even votings on it, and we chose Droopler to be modular, to have functionalities separated from each other. And our commerce and Mautic models that came with 2.0 and 2.1 were built this way. They are actually separated. Only CSS is common, but this will change in next versions. So we also made a small step for block and products not to be needed for everybody. Right now in 2.2 you can just select at the moment of installations that you don't want block, you don't want products, you don't want demo content. So everything is customizable. You can only have Drupal core with whatever you like. And in our Droopler roadmap, we have already allocated time to make a CSS separation. So we will try to separate CSS files that are compiled from SCSS and that cause us some problems with separating. And we'll try to optimize styling on our website and hit high scores in higher, because they are high scores in Google page speed. So so these are our plans. Next thing here is how to handle configuration, and everyone who tries to handle configuration in distributions knows that it's kind of a hell, because we have to provide updates. We have to extremely gentle with updates and migrations, and configuration management is great for single sites, but for distributions it's kind of difficult to handle. And I know that it's not quite popular, but in Droopler we handle configuration with features. And the model is considered kind of deprecated, but for us it saves us a lot of effort, especially when we are onboarding new developers. We don't have to explain them how to export things. We just click on some model with a paragraph and export it, and that's all. There's also that problem that configuration management exports these UUIDs and things that are kind of specific to one website, and these things must be removed in distribution. It's much easier to handle it by features. But on the other hand, many of our websites developed by Druptica use configuration management together with features. Like features are used to develop Droopler, but CM is used to develop the specific sites. They use config split, they use all the config models used by other Droopler websites. So features and CM kind of goes along here, and it doesn't cause any trouble. And for us, it's something that makes developing easier. And a thing related to configuration is how to handle updates. This is very, very difficult with distributions. We had a lot of ideas how to handle updates. In version 1.4, we developed a custom update engine that was detecting overridden configs. So we saved hashes of configs from previous versions, and in the next version we were checking if the configuration is as expected. If yes, we overridden it, and if it was changed, then we just skipped the update and informed user that the config has changed, and try to fetch the updates manually. So this was an idea to handle updates, but it wasn't very good. Right now, it's left only for compatibility purposes. And this screen that you have here, it's very similar to Thunder. We kind of took this idea from Thunder to use update checklists. We are going towards a very different solution with updates. Right now, it's also an idea from Thunder. We started to develop it on our own, but right now it's also very similar to Thunder's model. When we want to update something in a config, we never overwrite entire config file. So we just take a part of it that we need to change. We check the expected value or not. If it's not needed, we add only configuration parts in places we want to change. We never overwrite entire configs. So this is the approach from Thunder, and this way we can assure users that they can change their site and we won't break their changes. And when we have a place that doesn't meet this expected value, we have this checklist. The user see that something was not done, and they can go to features or to CM and import changes by themselves. So this is our idea for now to handle updates. Maybe in future we'll use the model from Thunder actually, because they became pretty similar. Right now we have some custom class to handle it, and there will be a lot of such updates in the upcoming release 2.2. We prepared many update paths. The very cool thing in 2.2 will be that all paragraph forms will be tidied up. So far we had a lot of mess there. Right now they are very pleasant to edit. It's really a great experience with them, because we moved some fields into tabs. We did a lot of changes like this, and we used this update model to change this config and not destroy any user's changes. And the last challenge here, also very important, was how to survive with Drupal.org. Our distribution was on Drupal.org since the very first day of its existence, and we are still not fully compatible with how Drupal.org works. We still try to be compatible with drush, but it's right now it makes no sense, as more and more distributions are going away towards Composer. So this will happen to us eventually. Right now we still keep drush version on Drupal.org and a Composer version on GitHub. And in the last months, we did a lot to be compliant with Drupal.org. We moved all our issues to the issue queue. So if you want to see what happens, all the descriptions, everything is on Drupal.org. We also placed a roadmap there. So you can see what will change. If you would like to, if you have some idea, if you want to tell us what would be great in Droopler, you can create an issue. We are always reviewing those issues when creating a new roadmap plans. So to sum up right now, our repository is on GitHub because it's much easier to develop Droopler there. We have 35 contributors, so so pull requests are kind of crucial to us. And those pull requests are not only within one project, because you can create a fork on GitHub and create a pull request from it. So it works really great in case of external contributors.